Hi, my name is David Sarvadi, and I am a member of the Workplace Safety and Employment Practice Group here at Keller and Heckman. A recent case involving Paramount Advanced Wireless shows the value of having a solid workplace safety program and making sure that supervisors enforce it. When a tragic incident involving a fatality occurs, people look for someone to blame. Often, the primary target is the person's employer. But if an employer takes the appropriate steps to develop, communicate, and enforce a safety policy covering the hazards the employees face, they will have discharged their duty and will not be punished by the courts. In 2009, an employee of Paramount Advanced Wireless fell to his death from a freestanding wireless tower. OSHA investigated the incident and issued a citation for a serious violation of the fall protection standard. It requires employers to assure that each employee on a walking working surface with an unprotected side or edge 6 feet or more above a lower level be protected from falling by the use of guardrail systems, safety net systems, or personal fall arrest systems. The Secretary of Labor contended that the employer did not provide appropriate fall protection to its employees because the deceased employee was using a descent device to lower himself without using a second line and a rope grab as a backup. The judge found that the evidence established that the employee was not engaged in a controlled descent at the time of the accident, as OSHA had alleged. Rather, he was positioning himself to continue his work. The judge noted that the instruction manual for the device plainly stated that the equipment could be used for applications including work positioning. Thus, because the employee was using the equipment in accordance with the manufacturer's intended purpose, the judge found that OSHA failed to establish that the employer did not meet its standard. One defense available to employees is the affirmative defense of unpreventable employee misconduct. To establish this defense, the employer must show that it has established work practices designed to prevent the violation, that it adequately communicates those work rules and trains its employees, that it takes steps to discover the violations, and it effectively enforces these work rules when violations are discovered. The records showed that Paramount was an industry leader in establishing safety practices, and that it had a well-communicated, comprehensive, and properly enforced safety program that required employees to be tied off at all times while on the towers, called 100% fall protection. Paramount's written safety policy required extensive training, a written exam on climbing procedures, regular inspections to monitor the effectiveness of the policy, and progressive discipline for failing to comply with it. Supervisors held toolbox talks every morning to discuss the site conditions and the work to be performed. They were required to complete a daily hazard assessment, which required the 100% fall protection, and each employee was required to sign it. Each employee also completed a daily PPE log, where he or she checked off that they had the appropriate safety equipment. Further, the record showed that the employees were properly supervised while on the tower. The judge vacated the citation finding based on all of the actions taken by the employer. The accident, according to the judge, was an unforeseeable event, quote, caused by the idiosyncratic actions of the employee who, for some unknown reason, unhooked himself from his fall protection, unquote. Several states have standards covering work on the wireless industry's communication towers. North Carolina and Michigan, for example, require 100% fall protection for climbers, like that which Paramount had in place. The key in this case was Paramount's daily emphasis on the proper procedures, its extensive training, and most importantly, the policies and procedures that required supervisors to make sure employees follow the rules. Tower owners can be held responsible under general tort law where a contractor employee is injured as a result of a hazardous condition on a tower that was known or discoverable by the tower owner. A contractor employee is considered to be a business visitor, and as such, the contractor employee is entitled to expect that the tower owner will take reasonable care to discover conditions presenting an unreasonable risk of harm and either make it reasonably safe by repairing it or give warning to the contractor employee of the actual condition and the risk involved. This potential liability provides a strong incentive for tower owners to periodically inspect their towers, to identify hazardous conditions, and to upgrade and properly maintain them. The North Carolina and Michigan standards do not require ladder safety systems on towers as long as employees use 100% fall protection. These standards, like the federal standards, place responsibility for protecting employees on the climber's employer. The tower owner is responsible for complying with the standards when its employees are exposed. Similarly, contractors must have a fall protection program for their employees. Thus, when hiring a contractor to perform work, it would be prudent for the tower owner to check the contractor's fall protection program and how the contractor plans to ensure that the anchorage points are sufficient. A quick check of your program will tell you quickly whether, like Paramount, you are prepared in the event tragedy strikes. Feel free to give us a call if you have questions about this case.